This next book that I'm reviewing is called Group: How One Therapist and a Circle of Strangers Saved My Life by Christy Tate. I was very conflicted about this book review because, firstly, it's a memoir and first hand experience of another human. So, how does one review that? The author, her name is Christy Tate. She's a successful lawyer whose style of writing is very tongue in cheek and almost burlesque, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But as a psychologist and someone who's read Irvin Yalom's writings on existentialism and group psychotherapy, I was a bit shocked at the methods of therapy that were used by the author's therapist. So, the author's authenticity is commendable, and it's wonderful that this form of therapy worked for her. So I was a bit unsure what I was reviewing. Was it the book, the writing that I wanted to critique, or the ethical considerations for the book endorsing the blatant lack of boundaries between a therapist and their client? So I just decided I'm going to do both. The book should be included in readings for classes on ethics in order to stir up conversations and debate. And that's the only reason why I'm reviewing this book. The book took me 5 hours approximately to read. I give the book 2 out of 5 stars, sorry, because I could not get over the fact that although the writing was worthy of maybe 4 stars, although Christy Tate was being so honest and authentic about her experience, it just crosses too many lines for me. This is also the reason that I'm putting out the book review. I wouldn't be putting it out if I didn't endorse the book for some reason. I would be interested in knowing what other people think of this dilemma of mine, including other psychologists. I picked the book because it was highly recommended and had great reviews. It's a very easy read and it's very difficult to put down because it keeps you kind of engaged. Miss Tate has just been named the top student in her law school class and is struggling with eating disorders. A bit of a trigger warning, she talks about how she often fantasizes about her death in the very beginning of the book. It's interesting to go with her through this journey in a psychotherapy group setting. I felt a bit like a peeping Tom to get an insight into someone else's therapy sessions. I mean, both from the client and therapist perspective. In that sense, the sessions have been explained in great detail and the author has done a fantastic job of keeping you absorbed. She does not hold back on discussing things that would normally not be discussed in a memoir for fear of judgment from one's family, children, partner, parents, neighbors, and so on. So I commend her on that openness to being vulnerable, and I'm truly happy that this kind of therapy worked for her. What I fear, however, is some client of mine thinking that this is how therapy works. The lack of a code, the overdependence, the lack of boundaries, the oversharing, the unidimensional focus on sex. And when at least I tend to come from a more Eastern, wholesome perspective, and I'm quite sure my personality interfered with my being able to accept some of the things about this book. There were a few editing errors because I noticed 2 different names for the same person, Jeff and John. So I'm assuming one is a pseudonym and the other is a real name, which did not really influence my review. So I'd like to kind of end with the fact that I feel the writing was likable, but the treatment or the therapy didn't go down too well with me. And I'd certainly like every single client of mine to know that I'm not okay with this particular form of therapy. There's a link to the book below if you want to see for yourself what I mean. If you buy the book by using that link at no extra cost to you, Amazon gives me credit to buy more books to review. If you wish to join the book club, click on any of the links below. Until next time, happy trails to you.